Hello, medieval history students. Let's talk about your assignments for this week. So we are currently on Islam and interconnectedness, and we are going to be discussing this checkpoint this week, religious tolerance and interconnectedness. I will go over my lesson because my lesson will help you complete this. I like to use my lessons to sort of give you more information, help you, understand the topic a little better. Therefore, it'll help you complete the summit checkpoint. So let's talk about it. Okay, take a look at this picture. Let me blow up my screen a little more. You can see this better. And, have you thought it's really fitting that we are talking about Islam and interconnectedness because of what's going on in the world today? How many of you watch television, watch the news? You listen to the news on the radio, and you may have heard about the trouble we're having right now with Iran and how Trump ordered the assassination of their military commander, their chief military commander, and they were really upset, chanting, in the streets, "Death to America," and they retaliated by striking one of our bases in Iraq. So it's kind of a tense time right now, and we're looking, to see what will happen next. And, so that's why it's sort of fitting we're talking about this, and you're learning about the history. And today you're going to learn more about the religion of Islam itself. And this, we'll talk about how this all, relates to today. Okay, so first of all, look at this picture. Do you know what this is? Well, what you're looking at here is one of the holiest sites for the followers of the religion of Islam called the Kaaba. In fact, all able-bodied Muslims, so Muslims are what you call people who practice the religion of Islam, they're supposed to visit this one time in their lifetime, and they're supposed to take a pilgrimage. So all able-bodied, if you can make it, you have to, one time in your life, visit this holy site. And then what I would like you to do is watch this brief clip. I won't play it now because you can watch this on your own, but I want you to watch this Muslims circle the Kaaba at the start of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. So you can watch that. It's only under a minute clip, but they circle it, and and they touch it. It's a very holy site, and so you'll read more about why is it holy. In this lesson, you're going to learn more about the history and the origins. So that means the start of Islam. Okay. So what I want you to do is the same as always in the Explore sections where you're going to learn about it. You can think of this kind of like as your playlist, what you use in Summit. But I want you to do each of these, okay? So make sure you read it. Make sure, just because I don't have you doing anything in particular here doesn't mean you can skip this. This is the heart of the lesson right in here. This is how you're learning about it. So this is where you have to really go through this thoroughly. So I want you to read these key terms pertaining to Islam. And it's a Google slide, all right? And then I want you to read this brief overview of the origins of Islam provided by Duxters. It will discuss its founder, the Prophet Muhammad, and the 5 major beliefs of Islam known as the 5 pillars, okay? So that's why the focus of this lesson is I can explain the history and the 5 pillars of Islam. Then I want you to watch this crash course video here. It's an overview of Islam and the 5 pillars. Then I have some flashcards for you to look at about these important 5 pillars that make up their religion. And then I want you to answer this question: who founded Islam and what are the major beliefs? So that would be the 5 pillars. Take the Duxters quiz here to assess what you've learned. Then you're going to take this background knowledge you gained on this about Islam, the 5 pillars. So now you have a better understanding of what the religion entails. You're going to complete the checkpoint, religious tolerance and interconnectedness. So that is right here. This is the checkpoint you're doing. And then, you'll of course need to use the resources here. You're going to need the document sets. So after you read through the docs, and in addition to what you learned in my lesson, you'll answer this question: how did a religious tolerance across the Muslim empires help increase interconnectedness in Afro-Eurasia? Remember, interconnectedness, people coming together, being connected with one another in Africa, Europe, and Asia, that whole region. How did religious tolerance, you're going to learn what that's about, but if you just think of the word, what's tolerant mean? If you're tolerant of someone or something, what's it mean? It means you put up with it, right? You respect it. You don't mind it, right? So it's the opposite of, you persecute someone for it. So that's what you really want in a society. You want people to be tolerant of other people's religions so that it's acceptance, right? So you could think of how did a religious acceptance, people respecting each other's religion, you can practice whatever you want, across the Muslim empires help increase this feeling of belonging, this interconnectedness in Afro-Eurasia. So you're going to use the document sets in here to answer that question. Okay, make sure, as always, you include 2 pieces of evidence with explanation of how they support your claim. When I'm saying about including evidence, so you take a strong stance with your first sentence, okay, your argumentative claim. And then when you take a piece of evidence, it doesn't always have to be a quote, but if you use a quote, it should be in quotation marks, right? And then you put the doc number and the author after. But you could also paraphrase. You could put one of those docs in your own words, but you have to put the doc number you got it from and or the author, okay? So you always want to do that, and then you want to explain it. But you should be pretty familiar with that because this is kind of what we've been doing since the very beginning of the year, writing these argumentative claims and using evidence and explaining our evidence. So that is it for this week. So you have this checkpoint, and then you have my lesson to go through. And then, as always, at the end, you want to self-reflect, highlight one of these, and then you want to respond to this question. Did you know much about Islam before this lesson? So I'd like to know, did you or not? And, do you feel you learned from this lesson? Okay, that's all I have for you. If you have any questions or concerns, be sure to reach out to me. Have a great week.